Hello out there, all you radio fans. Naturally, you've been wondering where I've been this past couple of weeks. You've been going frantic, twiddling the baker like knobs, scouring up and down the tuning scale looking for the kilo bicycles, banging the brushed aluminium receiving sets with the poker, but getting nothing but the usual run of old cobblers such as the Emperor Wogan giving out the revolting wreath lectures which are boring the pants off one and all. Where is the Idi Amin show? Cried the world. And a lot of half-assed salesmen crawling about the pavements of the famous Tottenham Court Road looking for the teeth and similar. The absence of my golden tones from the airwaves no doubt being taken by various imperialist trash that Idi Amin got his skids under him, victim of a coup. They hoping to have some new fellow appearing down the Kampala Wimpy for the foreign press conference and announcing, "Yassam, we got rid of that uppity nigger, hush my mouth, just put your boot on this step, Bwana, I given the best shine east of the Congo." Only that ain't the way it is. The fact is, I've been getting the Ugandan Navy into shape. It'd been taking up a lot of time, what with having a hole in it, also the parrot being delivered on train, did a terrible parrot. All he'd do is stand on his shoulder with his mouth shut and leave his ghastly droppings on the no epaulets. The other big problem facing the Ugandan Navy is we ain't got no sea. And short of taking the fleet through Tanzania on the bus, there ain't no way at present of getting it into the Indian Ocean, which is where you want to be if you're gonna start sending gunboats about and splashing the main brace and all that business. So we starting off in a small way, putting a fleet on Lake Victoria. Gonna sink a few duck, torpedo the old hippo, and as soon as we get the old eye in, we gonna declare war on the US Navy or similar. Now, the way I see it, they got two choices. Either they back down straight away and give us the lot, including the Pentagon, Las Vegas, and the Playmate of the Year, or they gonna have to come to Lake Victoria and take us on. Now, a lot of you people ain't boned up on the naval strategy, such as Mr. Midshipman Easy and 5 men in a boat and all that. And you're going to say to yourself, Washington putting in a couple of missile ships and an aircraft carrier? Where you getting off with a converted paddle boat from the Regent's Park Kids Pool and the Secretary of State for Defense standing up the sharp end with his uncle's shotgun? What they ain't realizing is America gonna have to bring its aircraft carrier in by air and build it on the beach. Soon as we see 'em unpacking the pigskin suitcases, we gonna leap into the armored tricycles, pedal up like lightning, and let go with both barrels. This gonna give us an aircraft carrier, also a lot of first-class luggage. I'm getting sick of arriving in foreign capitals with the spare underwear in a brown carrier bag with Cohen's Smoked Salmon Limited written on the side. People think I'm a pickled herring salesman instead of the famous international diplomatic giant. And I'm telling you, once you got an aircraft carrier, you really somebody. You got status. People getting off the pavement when you walking by, people getting up for you on the tram. You ain't walking naked into the conference chambers of the world. People saying, "See that gentleman with the black eye patch and the wooden leg under his arm and the bumper boy's telescope what folding out in 4 sections and the new frog flippers? That Admiral of the Fleet Idi Amin, PhD Esquire. And as soon as he finish negotiating this new loan, he going out after the well-known Moby Dennis again. With a bit of luck, I could be the next Robert Newton. Belay there, my hottie." Oh no, the parrot has done it again. Hello, enormous listening world. This the week that heralded an amazing new departure in Ugandan entertainment, namely the production of the amazing cinematographic film. It's an item what about to wipe the floor with the crumbling Hollywood. It's spelling the end of the line for the Charlie Chaplins and the Errol Finn. The only problem is the publicity. Don't matter a pig's burp if you ain't got the script or the loot or the box brownie with the zoom lens, provided the leading lady having it away with the leading man, and Narere the wonder dog sticking the paw in the wet concrete outside McGorman's Chinese restaurant and takeaway. What we kicking off with is the giant spectacular. I'm gonna be the new Celia B. DeMille rolled into one, with a touch of the spine-chilling Alfred Bullock suspenders. This the rough outline of the plot. The screen rises. revealing the American Civil War, in which I taken the part of Rat the Butler, walking about with the 10-gallon hat and the smile, playing about the lips and dropping a number of the minor characters with the Colt 45. Then we go into the famous chariot race. First, Charlton Heston in the lead, then Queen's Park Rangers, then Mickey the Mouse, Yogi Duck, Goofy the Foreign Minister, the Andrew Sisters, but suddenly I coming up on the outside and crashing through the winning post by the head. The scene switching to the South Pole, where I wait in with the hot bovril for Captain Scott, played by the famous brother-in-law Nagaga Mibibi. Now it's time for the comedy, and I coming on with the baggy pants and twirling the cane and eating the shoe. This taking the plot naturally into the sequence, where I suddenly falling down in the high street at the peak of the cello-playing career, on account of I got the unknown wasting disease what baffling wart specialists the world over. This mean I have to pack up scraping up and down the old cat's nuts, taking to the bed, and finally snuffing it, with a lot of the big-name stars slobbering all over the quilt, and the full treatment from the Entebbe Public Hygiene Department tin band whacking out the ever-popular funeral march. Of course, it's a well-known fact you can't have the lead star kicking the jam jar after only 4 hours of the film. So now we flashing across to the gloomy Hotel Frankenstein. And before we knowing it, there's this great big bolt of lightning what's striking this atom under a sheet, and wow! Who this but Idi Amin again? Only this time he got the bolt in the neck and the stitching all over the world-famous bonds. With one bound, he come leaping off the operating table and start lurching about the room, smashing the light fittings and eating the glass jars with the pickled brains inside. Gonna scare the audience witless. Also good to have a bit of realism. Got the intermission at this point, for the wires circulating among the audience, making a few bob on the lollies. Then back on the screen, what we finding but the ever-popular Battle of Britain. And here come one of the few, the young golden-haired wing commander Idi Amin Esquire, DFC and 9 bars, zooming about on the 2 tin feet and knocking the Messerschmitts out of the sky like teeth out of the Asian brothers. Unfortunately, the old spit getting pranked at this point, i.e. one of the wings falling off over the old folks' stone, and I winding up in the Jap concentrating camp due to the strong headwinds. But I escaping by digging a tunnel under the River Kwai, swimming to the nearby Broadway to change the entire history of the film musical with the revolutionary Amin Get Your Revolver, LPs on sale in the foyer. Well, that's the natural end, and everyone going out humming and dancing and weeping and saying, wow, that Idi Amin, he looking like the new King Kong. Here is a time check. The big hand on the one what looking like a tadpole with the tail hanging down, that is sticking up to the right on the top. The little hand on the one next to the one like the swan is poking out a bit on the other side. Also the long red hand whizzing round at amazing speed. Well, I don't like it. Lot of damn tasteless comments getting passed in the world press about me booting out the 3 wives, what turning out to be surplus to requirements, also chucking one of them in the chokey. This constituting the gross invasion of the matrimonial privacy. What the hell business of the Fleet Street hacks is it, poking the conch in the internal affairs of the Amin household? No one bothering to go into the deeper probings into the matter, what touching on the finer points of the entire human personality, like the love, the romance, the immortal soul, the religion, etc. It's all right for the non-Muslims. Anything going wrong with the big romance, they just got the one bit of slinging to do. Also, nobody realizing the ghastly carry-on of the presidential palace. 3 loony women shrieking the place down when the marching orders come in, tearing out the hair, chucking the tasteful furnishing about. Also the terrible fighting about whose towel is whose, who is entitled to the gold necklace, who getting the keys to the minivan. The whole thing giving me a damn headache. Anyway, what all the groaning about? Them 3 women having a damn good time for a few years. What they expecting now the teeth starting to go and the superstructure sagging. How it looking for a leading political figure turning up at the full-dress dues with the whole world looking on. All I got to show is a quartet of beat-up atoms with the wig over one eye and the false choppers rattling in the bonds like the dried peas in the cocoa tin. Also,
are doing it all for Uganda. They were doing everything else. Now we got the 3 vacancies up for grabs. I am in a position to move into the dynastic marrying arrangements, as seen on TV with the top historical families. I've been giving a lot of thought to the new replacements. The qualifications I've been looking for are the dignity, the loot, the connections, plus the ever-popular gigantic childbearing hips, all in the same bint. Not to mention where she got to look good in the low-cut atom and capable of doing the gavotte and the Boston two-step at the diplomatic functions. Me are gonna split it up. The short list currently down to Jackie Kennedy and Marjorie Thatcher, Goldera Gandhi, the Queen Mummy, and the famous Princess Jean Kelly of Meccano. But the running's still wide open, so if anyone considering the position, just fill in the coupon in the Kampala Bugle, bang it into the envelope, along with the recent photo, the bank statement, and complete the following slogan. I want to be Mrs. Amin on account of, in not more than 10 easy words. Here is a public announcement. I'm getting damn sick of the public. Any more of this mumbling on the street corners, any more of these disgusting comments getting choked up in the bogs, I'm gonna instruct the Special Services Brigade to start carrying out the ever-popular house-to-house public opinion polls. Answer yes or no. I'm suggesting yes unless you want your head nailed to the wardrobe. Good evening, world. You know that I've been reading in the famous Times newspaper and elsewhere about me seeing off this thing what are landing in Uganda, hub of civilization, last Saturday dinner time. I normally want to rush out with the wild claims, but as on this occasion the affair concerned the entire world, on account of how this thing planning to take us all over and turn the planet into soup, I reckon you got a right to know how you are saved. I was just coming back from a cabinet meeting which ended pretty successfully with me smashing a number of the lesser members in the face and getting the agreement going, when I suddenly see this green light hovering over Lake Idi, formerly Victoria. It looked about the size of the Wembley footer pitch, and it going like the famous clappers before stopping for a bit of the old hovering movements. I said to myself, this are indubitably the unknown flying object. Point is, are it coming direct from God to his chum Idi, and possibly containing large number of acres with a view to wiping out the national debt? Or are it something less appealing, i.e. some Asian bastard in a secret weapon it gonna cause untold damage? Years of the well-known diplomatic training now coming out, I creep up on the thing and pull out the famous Wembley 45. On account of it coming from God, it probably bulletproof. And if it come from Calcutta or Southall or somewhere similar, a hole in the head is best for openers. Anyhow, just as I lining up the sides, this door opens, and a tall green atom with 3 heads come down the steps. What ho, it say, with the far left head. You must be the famous nearly Field Marshal Idi Amin, Esquire, what we all hearing so much about on Pluto and neighborhood. That me, I reply sardonically. You talking pretty good English for a dog. How Donald Duck keeping? Ha, 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 go all the heads. Personally, I don't see what's so funny. These green bastards got a damn queer sense of humor, if you ask me. What you after? I asked them, wanting to get to the point, on account of I already overdue for a couple of shootings and a bit of the old toenail pulling, and I ain't gonna get to the Odeon at this rate either. Well, we're getting the word where you shaping up as the king of the world, said the thing. It looking like the white lot has finally won up business and you indubitably top nig. Anyway, that's the way it's looking from Pluto. We Greens is getting a whole different perspective, especially with the 3 heads. So what we offering is a merger. We got an expanding population, lot of Plutonians standing round, scratching the bum on account of the unemployment. What we got in mind is unloading a couple of million surplus Greens. You got a lot of space here, just what we're looking for. Suppose me and the world say no, I says. Any of that, said the thing. And we turn on the well-known death ray, what we're getting from sending up the Kellogg's packets. Going to be a lot of things going black and kapow and similar. You know that a student of the hotspot, etc., and you know we ain't bluffing. He got me there. Look, I replied. It sounds to me like what you need on Pluto ain't so much a reduction in population as a few damn good organizers. A few top-line cabinet ministers, generals, bishops, that kind of item. We got top blokes here. Soon get things sorted out. They soon whacking out the old gross national product fit to bust a gut. These here Asians is bloody first-class organizers. Best thing is I crate up a few dozens and send them off along with the ministers and so forth. Got more than enough here, surplus to requirements. The thing amble about a bit after that, scratching the various bonces. Then he come back and say, Right ho, King. We're gonna try it your way first off. Anything go wrong, we're gonna come back here and step on your face. That seemed reasonable, so he climbed back into UFO, sort out the gears, and F off damn quick. He coming back, though, on a regular basis. So I just want to say, apart from pointing out that the world been saved once again by a genius of the stature of Attila, Hitler, Nelson Eddy, etc., that if anyone noticed people vanishing from Uganda over the next few months, not to worry. They're all doing damn good on Pluto. Well, here we are again with Easter come and gone, and no doubt many of you are still pondering about what your plans are for the summer holidays. Why not think about coming to Uganda? Here the tourist season well underway, everyone getting the bugs out the beds, hanging up the airwick in the labs prior to the great summer rush. Personally, I don't pay much attention to the Easter business, being a Muslim, not allowed to eat eggs. But this year, we've been catering for people of all persuasions. For example, we've been holding the public executions in groups of 3 on any hill convenient to the scenic bus routes. We're looking forward to a pretty good tourist season, and we guarantee you having damn good time, no worries. For example, all the hotels here have to conform now to the stringent new code as laid down by the Ugandan Tourist Board, namely slinging out the Asian bastards what own the place and filling the premises with the highly trained Ugandan staff what's shaping up top hole. Soon as we teach them to stop eating the suitcases, we're gonna be able to offer the first-class service. Also got to get them out of the habit of shinning down the lift cables with the room service requirements. Lost 15 waiters last weekend. Found them all in the basement, twisted round the central shaft looking like a stick of licorice. Also looking for a way to stop the chambermaids coming down to the swimming pool at sunset and drinking it. Accommodation apart, we're offering a lot of interesting sights in Kampala and environs. There's the changing of the guard, which is where the incoming lot turning up every morning at 11 a.m. and shooting the outgoing lot. There's the opening of the stately homes, so the general public can see where the antique furniture used to stand, the old master pictures hanging on the wall, before we took them down and put them on the back of the truck. And don't miss the famous tours of the game reserves. There you can see all the wild creatures of the jungle, the BBC reporters, the Tanzanian diplomats, 3 of my ex-wives, all roaming about madly in their natural habitat. There's only one rule for a tourist in Uganda. Anybody taking out his box brownie better watch it if you don't want to end up on a string in the gift shop. He get a bit of the traditional native carving where it hurts. In the evenings, we putting on the shows of the amazing Song and Lumiere, which trace the history of Uganda all the way from the present day back to last Tuesday. This features such popular items as Idi Amin going out for fags, Idi Amin up the footer match, what Idi Amin doing on the holidays, Idi Amin singing along with his Geraldo records. Meanwhile, for those of specialized taste down the Kampala Gormont, the famous erotic film I'm in the Mood for Love. So as you can see, we're going into the tourism business in a pretty big way, on account of we needing to pull in the famous foreign currency. Now this turned out to be in pretty short supply since we've been kicking the foreigners out, so what we got to do is to kick them back in for a bit. Personally, I prefer not to let them get further than the airport,
Just ask them to step off the plane, leave the travelers' checks in a pile by the gangplank while waiting for the next flight back. The trouble is that don't seem to satisfy them. Everyone wants something for nothing these days.
We interrupt in this broadcast for SOS. Would the Minister of Health, presently believed to be hurtling towards Tanzania in a green Ford Escort nicked from the ministry car park, kindly get out, put his hands in the air, and wait by the vehicle for further instructions? Otherwise, his grandmother will be taken seriously ill.
We are now going over for a live outside broadcast relay to the University of Kampala for a lecture given by the Professor of Political Philosophy, Dr. President Idi Amin, PhD, VC. He will be reflecting on some current questions of economic planning and its relationship to private morality.
What the hell happening to the world? What the hell civilization playing at? You switch on the TV, the radio, the opening the papers. All you hearing about is the ghastly bribery and corruption in high places. Look at the U of K. The big political knobs, the town councillors, the aldermen, etc. All they doing is galloping into the premises of the nearest property developer, and in 5 minutes flat, they come galloping out again with the furtive glances. Also the piles of used fibers which they folding up and stuffing into the lining of the bowler hats. Then they clambering into the new Rolls Royces which the wife has parked by the curb with the engine running. And the next thing you know, the two of them are booking into the famous Zurich Hilton under the synonym of Mr. and Mrs. 879655. Purpose of visit? Snowballing and coming to look at the stuff stashed away up the bank. The whole thing shameful and disgusting and damn typical the way the world treating the emerging countries. What I put into the Poulsons and the Cunninghams and the desperate Dan Smiths and similar is this. What the hell wrong with Uganda? How about the universe? We got the biggest damn site in Africa. 100,000 square miles of building lot. Nothing on it over 8 foot tall with the exception of the presidential palace. And a couple of government buildings, and they looking a bit seedy these days, what with the bullet holes in the lovely stucco and the bloodstains marking up the car park. We in desperate need of the skyscraping swimming baths, the mighty libraries, the jumbo municipal causes, also the tower blocks and the trendy museums with the giant abstract Bobby Moore conversation pieces nailed up over the portico in the tasteful bronze and so forth. So where are all the top corruptors? Where are all the people in the flat caps and the clogs jetting in from the UK and fighting for the interview with yours truly, saying, what you in the desperate need of, Mr. President VC, is the multi-story car park in the two-tone lilac with the gold fittings, and the heliport on top and the smart executive urinal next door. Gonna run out about 4 million big ones, and by the way, here's 50 grand for your good self. Where are all the diamond pendants for the wife, and the lifetime supply of cord for the moggy, and the sets of monogrammed underwear? Where the introduction to the ravishing Miss Turkey with the incredible knockers and the bomb you can stand an ashtray on? What, simply dying to grab a rendezvous with the man with having the foresight to persuade his treasury that the one thing Kampala needing is an Eiffel Tower with a Taj Mahal on the top? Listen, I got the whole thing worked out. Soon as the old greenies are handed over, I'm speedily shoving them onto the blotting pad and calling in the press. I got the statement already written out, and I'm telling you a damn high-quality eloquent stuff about me having nothing to do with the grisly tide of filth and venerality what's sweeping the country. I'm plucking it out root and branch. So I'm emerging as a person of yet more amazing moral stature. Only what chance I got now to grab the loot and the plaudits with all the top British contacts getting slung in the chokey. 5 years, a damn long time to hang on before they get back into circulation. But they ain't caught 'em all yet, that's all I know. There are hundreds of 'em roaming around scot-free. Name these guilty men, I cried. So I know the man I want to get negotiating with. How else Black Africa gonna drag itself into the 20th century?
Okay, right now, here we're going again from the top. And this time, the first violins. I want you to plug the instruments into the gas main because I'm not getting the sound I'm liking. And the wives what forming the backing group, let you come round to the front of me where I can keep my eye on you. That's better. Now, here we are going. Stop now when I'm telling... Listen, stop, shut up! Thank you. Now, I'm counting you in with the well-known counting themes. Here we go. 1, 2... Oh no, we'll come after 2. 5.
Idi Amin, most amazing man there's ever been. He the general, the president, the king of the scene. Idi Amin.
Look at the history and packed with men. What rising to the top and getting chopped again. No one fathoming the secret of the whole damn thing. You gotta give the population something to sing.
Idi Amin, most amazing man there's ever been. He the general, the president, the king of the scene. Idi Amin.
Take Hitler, Stalin, Attila the Nun. No one got a good word for a single one. Where these first-class geniuses all going wrong? They never got the population singing along.
Idi Amin, most amazing man there's ever been. He the general, the president, he king of the scene. Idi Amin.
Listen, with the world-famous Kampala Glee Club mind keeping in the damn background, what the hell going on here? It looking like some kind of musical coup to me. That's better. 3 people more than enough for a quartet anyhow.
Idi Amin, most amazing man there's ever been. He the general, the president, the king of the scene. Idi Amin.
A modern leader got a twist and shout. Gotta tell the people, let it all hang out. If you don't want to vanish with a boot up the bomb, you gotta give the population something to hum.
Idi
You're still
Amin,
crowding the
most amazing man. He the general, the president, he king of the scene. Idi Amin.
That a pretty good voice you got there. That voice possibly taking you right to the top of the charts. Yes, sir, ma'am, every chance you get into the #1 spot on the Uganda hit parade with a voice like that. You could be the next Engelbert Bassey. You could be the new Zulu. Pity the world only needing one new star, really. Idi Amin, the most amazing man that the world has seen. Now the general, the president, the king of the scene. Idi Amin, oh, this girl singing a piece of cake. Let's go now, Idi Amin. Whoa, Idi Amin. Listen to the falsetto going there. Not often a black man get that far up, you know. Idi Amin. Idi Amin, don't forget the name there, folks. Idi Amin, how I love the sound of it. Idi Amin. Ooh, Idi Amin. Who wrote the lyrics of this? Is poetry. Idi Amin. Hear the weather forecast as issued at 12 o'clock Greenwich Mean Time by the Uganda Meteorological Office. They've been up on the Air Ministry roof and it's pissing down with rain. That's the end of the weather forecast. Now we come into the final program of the day, a book at bedtime. So I don't want none of you buggers dozing off out there, you get my meaning? This ain't no middle-of-the-run pot boiler. This counting as the emergence of the old creative talent in full flight. This gonna show the Norman Molars of the world where they getting off. The hack's gonna have to shape up if they wants to stay in the running for the Nobel gong, you better believe it. Boy, I'm telling you, it's good to get away for a moment from the informed political analysis and get out there moving about with the adjectives and the simians and the subjunctive cases and all that flash business. Well, here goes. The first installment of the new fiction sensation, All About Indoor Sports by Idi Amin, fellow the Uganda Society of Literature, also windows cleaned. Chapter 1. The best indoor sport I know is going down the cells and sucking the inmates in the mouth. It got action, it got human drama, it got topical appeal, and in the case of the female inmates, it got sex. I was laying about me one day with the lead-lined sock when this beautiful bird with the long eyelashes suddenly materializing out of the shadows. Chapter 2. With one bound I was at her side, my hot breath brushing her earlobes. She looking up at me and saying, "You're a damn handsome bugger for a politician, Cheeky. What say we go back to the courthouse for a bit of a gobble?" I gazing down at her with a melting look. But I, man, was standing at the crossroads of destiny. No, I telling her. First, I got to make a mark in the world. Also, collect the stuff from the dry cleaners on account of it early closing day. Chapter 3. I walking down High Road, Spain, and a fella coming up to me and saying, ole, you must be the earnest hemorrhoid we're hearing so much about. You're gonna write about fighting the bulls and all that business. Point me at the bull, I telling him. You got the wrong international literary figure, but you come to the right man. Anyway, soon as the bell go, the bull come out of the blue corner and start swinging. I hit him with a couple of left jabs, and when I put it in the right cross, the bull going down like an opposition spokesman. The crowd going wild. I getting the ears, the tail, the liver, and 2 pounds of best topside. Chapter... Hold on, I take the glove off. 1, 2, 3. Chapter 4. This where I chuck in the electric fire in the bath and Goldfinger getting fused to the national grid, only I having a bit of trouble with the dialogue. Chapter 5. Look here, Anna Karenina. I'm giving it to you straight from the shoulder. It's cold enough out here to freeze the whatsis of a brass bottle. I ain't used to this Stalingrad climate. What about opening the door and letting me in for a bit of the old Ovaltine? Ho, ho, she cried. Pull the other one, he got bells on. Do not trifle with a woman's heart, you big dusky sod, or nothing else neither, otherwise my husband come home and chop your fingers off at the armpits. Chapter 6. Well, it looking like I getting off the subject of indoor sports. Ain't no way back as far as I can see. It a damn sight harder than it looking, turning out the matchless pros. No wonder everybody making all the fuss about Ingrid Blattman and G.S. Eliot and all them fellas. You don't come up with noddy overnight, that's for sure.